Hi there, I'm Jamie, and I'm going to tell you about a soul realignment session today. So, I know a lot of you probably look at my services page or the website and you're like, well, what is a soul realignment? Completely understandable. So, soul realignment is a trademark modality that I have purchased, that I have paid for the training. It's a modality created by Andrea Hess, and if you're interested in learning it, let me know. I have an affiliate link. It gives you a discount and gives me a little bit of a kickback. So if it's something you'd like to know, learn to do for yourself, let me know. But a soul realignment session is basically an Akashic Records session. So if you're not familiar with the Akashic Records, a very, very brief, overly simplified explanation is that the Akashic Records is a energetic library of all possibilities in your life. Properties have Akashic records, locations, living souls, non-living souls to a certain extent. You can find references or information about just about everything in the Akashic records. You can find information about how the universe works. All information is basically stored there. So if you're familiar with video games, in Skyrim, it's the Apocrypha. Okay? If you're not familiar with video games, then it's okay. It's basically an energetic library where all information is stored. And what we access specifically during a soul realignment session is your personal information I check over 120 different points of reference to help get a picture of what your soul is like. Okay. And then we go into your past life records, because those are stored in your Akashic records as well. And we do that specifically. Now, when I go into a person's Akashic records, keep in mind, I am a medical professional, not that I'm using my degree for any clout, just that I am very, very conscious of a person's privacy. Okay, and your right to your information. So keep that in mind. When I am in your Akashic records, I am only there for the sole purpose of helping clear past life influences and other negative influences that are impacting your experience here on earth. Okay, I'm not looking at your decisions or whether or not you had an affair or any of your dirty secrets or any of that. I'm not looking at any of that information. And as a matter of fact, my personal healing code of ethics prohibits me from doing that. So I've set up fail safes for myself in case I would ever, go off the rails, and decide that I want to snoop on someone else or do anything like that. My personal code of ethics holds me in line, and I've set the intention. My guides help me uphold that I will, do my work in the Akashic records with integrity and for the highest and best interest of the person that I am serving at that time. So there's no worries about that. I'm not accessing, I'm not in your head, I'm not picking out personal information about you. But I do check for specifically things that could be influencing your experience in this current incarnation. Things that could be negatively impacting your experience here. So we've all heard about past lives, most likely, and how our past lives can affect us and carry over into our current lifetimes, and a lot of this work is about your past lives. Now, a soul realignment session isn't just about a past life reading, though, because like I said, I check for over 120 different points of reference during your soul realignment session in your personal Akashic records. I check for each one of these things to see if they are present. Okay, and if they are, we can make note of it. And then at the end of my work, when I'm, actively involved in your Akashic records, at the end of my work, then we can put in a request to have those influences cleared from your Akashic records and prevent further influence in your life today. Okay, so what do you get when you book a soul realignment session? So keep in mind that when you book a session, the majority of the work, several hours worth of, work on my part, happens before you ever come to your session. Okay, I'm going to be checking those 120 points. I'm going to be pulling Akashic records on past lives that are relevant for your soul realignment session. I'm not checking all of your past lives, but if there's something specifically that you're curious about, I will pull those for you. But I will also pull any relevant information that you need to know to help you identify patterns in your life currently that are a direct result of your past lives. Okay? And I will go over that. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about your divinity and who you are at a soul level, who you were created to be as a soul. Okay? And that's priceless information, because when you know who you were meant to be without all of the outside influences, without the expectations of your mother and your father and your spouse and society, and without all of the limiting beliefs that we place on ourselves, and the tribal beliefs that we buy into, and the religious beliefs that we carry, and all of the negative thought patterns that we carry around about ourselves, and the things that we hold on to about our past that we're still using to negatively define who we are today. Without all of those things, we can look at who your soul is in its pristine state at the moment of creation. And it's a beautiful thing for people to learn who they are at a soul level. Okay? So when you understand who you are, it helps you define who you're not, and you can learn to recognize those things in your daily experience and say, no, I don't think I'm going to be doing that anymore. That's not me. So it's invaluable information that you can use in so many different ways to enhance your life that we could literally sit here and talk until tomorrow morning and still not cover them all. But I will give you your soul profile information that talks about who you are at a soul level, okay? Where you spent most or a greater majority of your incarnations in the multiverse. We'll talk about different things like how you're manifesting. If you are actively expressing your creative energy, or if you're letting that stagnate in your life and creating illness and injury and disease and things that you don't want in your life. We'll talk about I didn't bring any notes, so I'm thinking off the top of my head what else we talk about. We'll talk about different areas in your life that might be recognized as patterns, okay? Things that just keep coming around. And the one that always sticks with me when I give this explanation is I had a client one time tell me, I just keep attracting bums. I don't understand why I always just date bums. Why can't I date a decent guy? It's always bums. They start out and I think they're wonderful and they may have a job and they seem really good. But as we're dating and things go on, they quit their job and they don't want to work and they turn into bums. She's like, is it me? Am I doing this to them? And we had this discussion. And I think this is really relatable, right? Because, well, it may not be attracting bums. We all have a bum situation in our life that we just can't seem to stop recreating, right? And we'll talk about how those patterns play out in your life now and what their point of origin is, which is usually a past life influence. Okay. We'll also talk about if you have any attaching souls that are potentially draining your energy. If you have negative influences that are impacting you now, that are affecting your energetics and your access to vital force energy and the way that you're able to create your experience, and the thought patterns that are, essentially operating as your operating system here in life. We'll talk about those things and how you can identify them. And, it's a little bit of a lengthy, session. I'm not going to lie. We go over a lot of information, but I'll give you, some written information to refer to, or you're always welcome to refer back to your session and, watch it as many times as you want and refer back to it until you absorb the information. But I'm also going to give you a document. And, some people are going to cringe at this word, but it's essentially homework. Okay, it's optional homework, but it's homework that can change your life if you choose to accept it. Okay, so this is a personal clearing statement based on the work that I have done for you in your Akashic Records situation, because all of that work that I do prior to your appointment doesn't take effect until I explain it to you and you agree with it, because nothing is going to happen in your life unless you allow it. Okay, I can't just go into your Akashic record and rewrite your story however I see fit. Okay, that's not possible. Okay, so no worries there. There are fail safes. It's a safe process. But once I explain to you what I found and what we can do to correct it, if you are in agreement with it and if you are in alignment with it, you can use your homework statements in order to bring that 7th dimensional work down into the 3rd dimension, which is where we really feel the impact. Okay, so you can use your homework to start taking new actions, to create new habits and create a new reality for yourself, and really cement in that work that we've done in your Akashic records. Okay, and your homework takes place for 21 days. It's a simple process, and at the end of that 21 days, you've created that habit in your life of reaffirming those truth statements that I give you about yourself, and it will become your reality. Okay, and it's a process of being free from the things that are negatively impacting you. Okay, so we'll also do some things. Like I said, I'm not going to go over all 120 things that I check for, but one of the most impactful things that I do check for is soul loss. Okay, so most of my clients that are incarnated now, I'm not going to lie, most of you have soul loss, and that's okay. It's completely understandable. I have another video where I explain how and why that happens, so I'm not going to go into that here. But if you have soul loss, I give you a video that will help you correct that and help you retrieve those parts. Okay, I also put in the request in your Akashic records for those parts to be recalled to you. So it handles issues of soul loss. It handles issues of negative entities, attaching souls, earthbound souls, disruptive souls, problems with not expressing your manifestation creative energy that creates stagnation in your life. We address a lot of different things. So it's not just a past life reading. And one other thing that I want to mention is that I have completed all 3 levels of the Soul Realignment program. Now, anyone who completes the first level is qualified, and if they have completed the program from beginning to end, they are certified in order to do this work for other people. Now, keep in mind that I have invested thousands of dollars beyond that and 2 more years of study in order to complete the other levels. So I am capable of looking at a lot more elements and looking very deeply into any specific problems that you might be experiencing so that we can locate those specifically in your Akashic records. Because the Akashic records is a vast compendium of information. It's like walking into a library in the old days and there not being a card catalog. And none of the books are organized by the Dewey Decimal System. And you have to find a specific book. So that's why we use this modality and this system. It helps us know exactly where to look for information and what questions to ask in response to particular things. Now, obviously, at the more advanced levels, it goes beyond just, normal protocols, do this, do this, do this. It's not a recipe anymore. At the advanced level, it's more of a coaching situation that happens as I'm in this situation, and it requires, some cause and effect type of thinking. And it requires a lot of intuitive process and channeling information for you from your guides on what's the best next step to take and where to look and what might be applicable. But I do complete due diligence and go through the protocols and check the things that could be pertinent for you still. But, you're getting a higher level of service when you book with me. So in case you decide to look up online Soul Realignment session and you find another practitioner and their prices are lower and you're wondering, well, why is that? This is why. I am a level 3 practitioner and I've taken additional modalities that complement the third level of Soul Realignment in addition. So there is a lot of information that I can draw from, and a lot of experiential, hands-on type of work that I've done in preparation for launching my new business. So if you're interested in a Soul Realignment session and you're not sure if it's right for you, you can always book a clarity call with me. Those are free. It's a 15-minute telephone conversation, and we can talk about where you're at, where you're struggling, where you want to be, and if I think I can help you. Okay? If you're not sure, if you have any doubts. But I would encourage you to make the investment in yourself in booking a Soul Realignment session. The people that I have done this for tell me that it has impacted their life so greatly. It's just created that surge forward in their journey that they've been looking for. And it's like breaking free of chains that have been holding you back, that you didn't even realize were holding you back until after you've started to run and you realize that what you thought you were doing before wasn't really running, okay? It's really something that must be experienced to appreciate. But with that said, a Soul Realignment session can help you transform your life. And I don't say that lightly. But it can help you advance in your healing journey. It can help you create the life that you're trying to create. And most importantly, it can help you break free from all of those negative influences and things that you've been experiencing up until now. It can help you break the patterns. So I hope if this resonates with you and you feel drawn to, that you'll book a Soul Realignment session with me. Thanks for listening.